Hello, everyone. This is Kwavi. Welcome to another episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. And I have a fabulous guest today. Her name is Rhonda Johnson. How are you?
Oh, doing well. Thank you. Thank you
Yay!
for inviting me.
You are welcome. And thanks for accepting the invitation. My question for you, my first question is, how old are you?
I'm 57 years young.
57 years young. Okay. And tell us a little bit about your story, because I wanted to interview you because you have an interesting story. And I was like, okay, I have to interview you.
Okay. The whole story.
Well, a little bit of it.
Okay. All right. Number of things. I know that we talked briefly, but breast cancer survivor twice. The first time I had a lumpectomy, and very interesting. It seemed like it happened each time there was a very important role happening within my life, and then all of a sudden it went from that to, oh, I have breast cancer, and then so the first time 2010, second time was 2017, right before Thanksgiving. Both were, it's interesting, both were ministerial roles, moving up in ministry. The first time was ordination. Second was I had received a appointment, an Episcopal appointment. So go from local to district to, Georgia conference to the Episcopacy portion. So a big role. And then, oh, you got cancer. Yeah, you need a double mastectomy. Oh, okay. That's just part of the story. Just, so many things happening, wonderful, beautiful things, married my college sweetheart, have 2 children, and learning and living life along the way. But those are 2 huge things, I believe, that really did a lot of having me to change and switch what I thought was important.
Right.
To what I need to do for self-care.
And so with the backdrop of that, how did that affect your idea of aging? Like, were you like, okay, this is it? Or, I mean, how did that play a role? Because I know we all experience that differently.
Well, okay, with cancer, you're always thinking, oh, am I going to get it again? Is it going to happen again? What's going to happen? How it's going to affect me? What's going on in my body? What's, is my head okay? Is my brain okay? I got to sneeze. Is that cancer? All kinds of things that occur. And so I believe, okay, so the first time was 2010. So that was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in my 40s, and began to, because I was pastoring at the time, they cook so much bad stuff, eating fried stuff. It tastes awesome. but I tell you, it's and so you begin to think about how you're eating. Now, I've always been one that would fast, and I was vegetarian at one time, and did some health things, looking at what kind of chemicals are on my body.
Exactly. Yes.
Body.
Yeah.
I've done that, but I began to really think about the spiritual component and what I was taking in, what I was receiving, what kind of stress was I allowing to linger? Family members that were toxic, those types of things. And there's, there's so many, and you have to look and really be aware. My awareness, I had to build.
So that was heightened probably.
and saying, ooh, they said this, and they've been saying this in my family about me.
That's a hard one, though. That's a tough one.
It really is. It's a tough one. I remember, one of my favorite aunts, but she was experiencing grief, and she had said something to me about me, just kind of, I didn't know that was her way of experiencing grief, but it felt really bad because we were both experiencing the same grief.
Right.
A grief for the same person, my grandmother.
Yeah.
And she said these things, and I said, okay, how do I respond to this?
Yeah.
And I couldn't respond. I couldn't respond until that, months later.
Yeah. That happens sometimes. Yeah.
And I had to pick the right time. We went to the beach. And on the way back,
that was your moment, right?
Yes. And she's like, she waited this long to say this. Now, it could have gone really bad. It really could have.
Yeah.
But I think when people actually hear you, because she had to go back home and say, did I really do this? Did I do this? And I'm so glad she did, because they were like,
wow.
Yes, they had to validate it. And I couldn't back out of it.
Of course.
So many people try to, when they feel as though they've hurt someone, they try to back, kind of dumb it down, or kind of back out of it and not say those things that bring life to you.
Yes.
But I was old enough to say, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Anymore. And so when you first have that first feeling of freedom, then
it's like, bring it all.
Right. Or you just begin to build on that.
Yes.
Yes. As you age, as you get older and prayerfully wiser, you begin to look at other things. I began to look at other things in my life and kind of move forward in the direction of, this is how I want to be as I get older. I want to be freer to say, freer to tell people what I'm feeling and know what it is. Be aware of myself enough to know what it is that I'm feeling. And move in a direction of saying, hey, I need this in my life. I understand me enough to know that this is no longer serving me.
Ooh. And I love that.
And this is, let me explore this enough.
I love that. And I think one of the things you mentioned that I think is important is just, speaking your truth and just being honest with yourself. But I also know that when you speak up about certain maybe conversations you've had with people where it didn't go quite the way you expected, or they said something that you didn't, you're like, okay, what did that mean? And being okay with knowing that they might not respond in the way that you like. And I think sometimes when they react in a certain way that is uncomfortable for us, we kind of backtrack. But I'm glad you stood your ground, because I think that's so important, because that's your voice, that's your truth.
Right. And what I found was I hadn't done that as much. I would let people talk, and I would let them speak their truth. But really was kind of silent when it came to mine, or, I would ask questions, but that's still not speaking your truth. That's allowing others to speak theirs and giving them the space, and being in chaplaincy too. That's what you're used to. You're giving other people space. But knowing when you need your own space to speak your own truth.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of women go through that, where, different roles they've played, that eventually they end up being almost a shell of who they truly are.
Yes. And I think that that's where I was, where I'm trying to break out of that shell, just break it out. Some people don't like it, and they're not going to.
Oh no, and they're not. Not everyone's gonna, especially if they're used to seeing you in a certain way, and they love that part of you. But that's not the true you. Like, no, you're accommodating everyone else, but there's a part of you that wants to come out, and you're like, kind of suppressing that part. And so when it does come out, they're like, "What's wrong with her? Why did she change?
She used to be so nice."
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's a common one. Used to be so nice. What happened?
Yeah, what happened to you? Yeah, you got on my last nerve, and I need to speak my truth.
Exactly. Like, oh yeah, you like the other side of me where I was always being so accommodating to the extent where I'm almost losing myself, and I want to try and get myself back.
Yes, and I think also in that you realize when silence. I think when silence is important. And when you feel as though, when you know that there's something in that silence, either you should say, or you just wait and let that silence speak for you.
Yes.
But I believe that the silence is so important, because I know in it, sometimes I'm saying, I need to be speaking in this moment. This is my moment.
This is your time. Yeah, to speak up.
Yes, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I believe that the silence helps me to understand. I can sit back and say, is this my moment? I need to go ahead with my moment. And the more you do, the more you can.
Yeah, you get more comfortable with it. Because in the beginning, it's not very comfortable, So, and then when you get that courage to do it the first time, and after that, it gets a little easier. For sure. Yeah. So tell me about your journey. You went back to school. Tell us what you went back to school to do. She takes a breath, like, who?
The moment. Okay. Well, I started in industrial engineering, going way back in at North Carolina A&T, and hated it. Really did. And that's when you really, in your 20s, I really didn't know who I was. And so from there, worked in it a while, raised kids, and was called to ministry. And from there, I got my Master of Divinity in 2012. And then I worked in chaplaincy, did residency, and I received CPE, which in the hospital, clinical pastoral education.
Oh, okay.
Chaplain for a while. And I said, wow, okay, this is wonderful. You learn so much. You have to go, it's almost like doing intense therapy.
Wow.
while you help other people in hospitals and go through their grief,
their journey. Yeah. Wow.
And so, but you do, group therapy. I went through group therapy. I went through personal therapy. Have an educator there where you work with them once a week. And I even worked with an Episcopal priest. I said, I'm going to get everything that I can get. This is what I've been missing,
Yeah.
I remember also, during that time, I went to the Episcopal priest, and she said, how are you doing? And she just looked at me. She didn't say anything. And it was almost like I was so drained, so tired. I fell asleep. I went to her office. I was nodding off. I didn't fall totally. I was trying to stay awake. But she didn't say a word, because my mind, my emotions were totally exhausted.
And she could probably feel that.
Yeah. And she just smiled and looked at me. But I believe that, we as women go through that. So many of us, we don't even know we're exhausted.
We don't know, because we're so used to feeling exhausted. We don't even know what the alternative is.
Yes. And our emotions are exhausted. Everything.
Yeah.
but from there, I began working at Columbia Theological Seminary, and they have a doctoral program.
Yeah.
So I entered the doctoral program in.
Oh, nice.
And it's a MDiv. Everybody thinks, you're getting a PhD. I'm saying no. It's a DMin, Doctor of Ministry, DMin.
Nice.
And I did in 2021, and so I'm expecting to graduate in 2024.
How's that process going so far?
It is opening me up to lots of questions.
Oh, goodness. I love you saying that word, because questions help us grow. I believe that's really questions. Wow.
Yeah. Lots of questions. Very interesting. When I got here, they were going through transition. It's a PWI, predominantly white institution. I'm so used to Black institutions.
Right.
I mean, I am black everything.
Yeah, right.
I just am. I started even elementary, middle school, high school.
Those have been your experiences. Yeah.
All of it, college, seminary.
Yeah.
Have been Black. And so to come here, I said, ooh, this is interesting.
I love this.
But then from there, they knew that they were going through the transition. I already had a taste of womanist theology in my seminary program.
Okay, before.
Before. They hired 3 womanist theologians right before I started the program. And I'm saying, whoa, what's going on here? And even one of the male professors professes to be a womanist scholar. Yeah. So I'm saying, oh, this is a lot. People don't talk about God and the divine mother and divine feminine, and I look back over who I am and where I've come from, and I said, wow, I have no problems. I have no problems in calling God she. I have no problems in seeing my Black femaleness, God in me, and me in God. I have no problems with that.
Yeah, of course.
Many people do. I didn't know how many. Whoa.
Really?
And
it's so interesting. Wow. Interesting. I was just going to say something because it reminded me of something, and I don't know where my son got this, but my youngest son, from a very early age, Jesus was always Black. Like when they had to do coloring, he just had this image that Jesus looked like him. So I totally understand, it's like in our likeness. That's how I see it. Right. And it's really difficult for some people. It's interesting. Really especially, especially Black male and female persons, because they, first, they've been indoctrinated with, of course, how God and Jesus should look. Right. Like they've seen God, like they've seen Jesus. Nobody I know has seen Jesus. But that's the first thing. And then I began to, I think I needed the information, to really kind of set my own spirit at rest in the liking of who I feel Jesus is, and God is, and however I formulate that, the context in which I formulate it, but I just
colonization. Wow.
Yeah, see,
Wow.
I'm originally from Nigeria, so I know all about that. That is something, seriously.
And when I talk to folks who are visiting the seminary and taking classes from Africa, I'll ask them about an indigenous spiritual practice.
Right, exactly.
And then they'll say, well, before the colonizers came, that's the first thing that they say.
Yeah.
And so are you continuing to take on the spiritual practices of the colonizer? And most of them are like, well, yeah, that's why I'm here. And my divine feminine, I guess, will say, is that what I want to do? And and the more that I understand, I'm not trying to change anyone's way of knowing God. I'm understanding for myself.
Yes. Yes.
I see so many people trying to say you ought to, especially preachers. Preachers, you need to, you ought to, this is the way it is. Proclamation of God's word is great. God goes beyond that, I believe.
Yes, I totally agree with that, for sure.
And do we listen, or are we looking for someone to always tell us?
That's the thing. And guess what? We can make decisions from within. We all have that within us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm finding the courage. One of the things I wrote down, like 3 things that I was gonna, I said, okay, if she asked me some questions, at least I have these 3 things to say.
So please share.
So the first one is understand and know your worth.
Yes.
And
my word.
Yeah. And so with me, as I get older and I take out the braids, which, I wear everything, every kind of hairstyle in the world, every kind, and it's been every color I've had.
That's probably me too.
Yeah, navy blue. I've had blonde. I had like a blonde patch with navy blue.
Yeah, I did. I had the blonde thing too at a point.
I had strawberry blonde, which did not go well.
But you did it.
I did. But I said in that, for me, because some people still wrestle with me and my gray color, me going gray.
And what do they wrestle with, that you shouldn't or you should? What is
they wrestle with, why are you? I shouldn't do that. I don't know why you did that. I don't understand. And you're saying, okay, you do you.
And that's it.
But it's really tough for some people. But
it is, though.
I knew, and also you talk about, I look at my weight as I get older, and my your body changing.
Oh my word, it's changing constantly.
I'm saying, ooh, I can't, I don't want
the stomach area. It's like, what's up with, like, seriously?
I can't do this too much because all that, and
I know.
All of that. I'm like, ooh, what is this thigh stuff going on? And so it's just, all of that. And I have to constantly talk to myself and say, I have to, I'm worthy of love.
Yes.
I'm worthy of having my peace. I'm worthy of making mistakes.
Yes.
Of understanding that none of us are perfect and no one should try to make me that way.
Yes.
Worthy of being creative in so many different ways. I don't care if
so many.
Rap. I don't care. I love spoken word. I love I used to quilt and all this kind of other stuff, but because other things took over, the creativity just is stifled.
Yeah, and we all have that creativity in us. It's amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So I said, I'm worthy of being me, and I need to understand what that means and how others are really looking at me, be me.
Yes. And, because if not, they're with someone who isn't you, but they think it's you. It's almost,
but even when it's not me, they know it. They know there's they know it and you know it.
No, right.
So how do I become me? So I need to understand that. I need to understand and sit with me long enough, to just be who I am.
Yeah. And that's not easy. That is, for a lot of us, we have to learn that. That's a skill that we have to learn.
And I'm still learning.
I would say we're always becoming. That's what I say.
But the more I begin to look at me and know me, I like me.
Yes.
Like me. I like my little hair and how it curls up right there.
Yeah.
Yes. I like my earrings because I got them and they're my creativeness.
Yes.
I'm doing things in my home and I want it to look like me.
Yes.
My creativity. My daughter says, "Mom, are you going to make everything African in the house?" Maybe.
I love that. I like maybe.
And that second thing is do it scared.
Oh, yes. Ooh.
That's what one of
I agree.
biblical scholars, her name is Dr. Mitzi Smith.
Yeah.
That girl, something else, Dr. Mitzi Smith. And she said, do it scared. Do it scared. Yeah. And I'm saying,
But it's so true, though. I tell people all the time, like, don't let being scared stop you from doing what you want to do. Just bring the fear along and just do it anyway. Like, become friends with fear. Do it.
Do it. The fear is going to be there.
Yes. Yes.
So do it,
Just do it.
And the third thing is walk into your ever-evolving self.
Yeah. Oh, girl, please. That is like, I love that because we're constantly evolving. And be okay with that.
Being okay. Oh, gosh. And it's not comfortable.
Oh, what is it? It is like we want to kind of stay the same. And then we have this brain that also likes staying the same. And so even if no one is talking, your brain is telling you, why are you doing that, sis? What can we just stay?
Right. Can we just kind of stay in this? And I'm like, no, I got my husband. Can we just no? Because we're evolving. We're changing. In my relationship, we have to change together.
We're changing constantly.
Yeah, we're changing together. We're changing in different ways. But we got to go ahead and change. And how we're going to come together in that change.
Yeah, you're not the same way you were years ago. Like,
we don't do things the same way. Come on. No, don't. Intimacy is not the same.
No, it's different.
People don't want to think that way, but no.
It is true. Oh, no.
I don't want you kissing me the same way.
You were kissing when you were
30 years ago. It's like, well, that's boring.
No. Let's change things up. Yes.
Yeah. So
I am with you on that because I've been married 22 years and it's different. Like, different doesn't mean bad. It's just different.
And we don't talk about it. Talk about it. Women need to talk about it more.
Oh, so much so. We need to have more conversations like this for sure. But this was, oh my goodness, this was so heartwarming. And I know my audience is going to love it. Thank you so much. And, I really, really enjoyed this discussion. And I'm sure the women listening are like, this was so good.
Good.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, we got to do lunch too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have to do lunch. So yes, we're in the same city. We might as well, make this happen. I know we'll have an interesting conversation.
I'm sure. I am sure.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you everyone for listening. And I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care. Bye. Thank you so much for watching an episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. I invite you to join our online community called Flourish, a community created exclusively for women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. A place where you'll get to pursue your passion and live your purpose with other like-minded women. If you're not sure what your purpose or passion is, not to worry. I share tools to help you with that. Flourish is the best place to learn, grow, and have fun if you're in your 50s and beyond. Go to www.kwavi.tv/flourish to learn more.